I am very happy that you joined for this 1 hour to listen to the tips for your English state exam, particularly listening part. Okay, let me share my screen at first. Okay, and I will share my screen and we will start our presentation. Okay, here we are. So let us begin at first with the things which come first. Yes, as you can see on my slide, we are getting ready for the exam. Yes, and my first question is, are you ready for your exam? Students, please participate. Are you ready? How can you define your motivation and readiness? Are you ready for the exam?
I would say that
yes. Okay, good. So some of you probably might feel not very much ready, but I guess 12 years at school should have got given some time for you to prepare. Yes. So at first I want to introduce myself, and then I will ask some questions from you and will present the listening exam. So I am Edita Liutkevičienė. I am a teacher in Kaunas region, Garliava Juozas Lukša Gymnasium. I've been teaching English for almost 29 years already, so I have a lot of experience, I guess, yes. And talking about the readiness for the exam, you might be questioning yourself, am I ready or not? The same I was doing when I was a student, yes. And now I am standing in front of you, in front of the screen and talking to you because I am not the person who knows everything, yes. I am not, you know, some prophet or whatever. Just I am the person who has more experience, who studied a lot, yes, and who has been teaching for almost 30 years. Students like you and preparing for the exams, because I teach students mostly from grade 9 to 12. Okay, so now you are students, you are on your final period at school and you are getting for the exam. I understand your feelings, really. Remote teaching or distance teaching doesn't help a lot, but I guess that you are very smart. You listen a lot to different kinds of things on the internet. Yes, you have friends abroad, you read a lot, you watch films. So I guess really you might be ready, you should be ready, and I think you are ready for your exam. So now listening exam. Listening exam, everybody knows that it consists of some parts, okay? I want you to share next screen, okay? Just to remind you what exam looks like, yes? English exam is of some parts, yeah? And the time is given only how many minutes? Who can tell me?
30.
30 minutes, yes. So 30 minutes for your exam, and you are given how many parts of it for the listening part?
3.
3 probably, yes, because why am I asking? Because I hope you tried a lot of different parts for your exam. Yes, you tried with your teachers. And as you can see, yes, listening only 30 minutes. And you are given 3 parts. Somebody says, so let us look. Let us look. Part 1, yes. Part 2, yeah. Part 3 and part 4. So for the listening exam, you are given 4 parts. And most often, the easiest part comes first, yes? And I think you tried once in your lifetime, different types of exam, listening parts, I think. And today also, I will give you to try. And the first part always is the easiest one, yes? You just have to do multiple choice questions. This is the exam of last year. Also, for the part 2, you are given what? Again, more difficult things to do, to choose multiple choice answers for a longer version of recording. Part 3, matching speakers, yeah? And I think the most difficult one is part 4, where you have to complete summary. Okay, so that is your exam. And today, why I am here? What is my purpose here today? To share with you some tips, how to get ready as well as you can. Yes, as well as you can. And I will provide you some tips which I prepared for you. And as I mentioned, I am not the prophet. I am not the person who knows everything in her life. But I studied. I also got ready for this consultation. I read a lot of material in the internet, and in the last slide of my presentation you will see the reference list, so you can always go there and check. And let us start. At first, I want you students to ask, what is listening? How you think? How you would define listening? What is listening? Can you say in your own words? Nobody wants to speak? Okay, listening is very important part of any human's life. Yes, we are not talking only about exam. We are listening every day to different things, yes? And if we have good listening skills, we have good preparation for reading, yes? For reading comprehension, because next part of your exam is reading comprehension, yes? So listening comprehension prepares you for the reading comprehension. It is very important to develop that skill. I think you spent 10 or 11 years doing that, yes, at school with your teachers. And for example, when you hear a story said loud or read loud, or when you hear a person talking, yes, if you have good listening skills, you grasp the meaning at once, yes? And it makes you easier to understand everything you hear and after everything you read. And also in listening, we have different processes involved, yes? In understanding. We have to make sense of that spoken language, yes? And while listening, we include what? Recognizing speech sounds. We should recognize every sound of the person who speaks. Also, we have to understand the meaning of individual words. It comes also to learning vocabulary. But while listening, you can also somehow guess the meaning of words. And also you should understand the syntax of sentences, how the speaker on the recording or the speaker you are listening to makes sentences, what type of sentences he or she constructs, yes? The sentences which are presented by the speaker are in some order. They are compound sentences or simple sentences. So a lot of processes are involved in understanding listening. But really, I want to make you sure and want to encourage you, don't panic and be ready for your exam. And I think you are ready for your exam because you listen to a lot of things and much more often than we teachers do, yes? We are adults, but you are youngsters. You communicate a lot. You have different interests. So listening, I think, is the easiest part for you to show your best in exam, I guess. Okay, so now I want you to try one listening task. I sent you by email Do you have those tasks, students?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So let's go to the next slide. And before starting to go through different phases of listening, yes, I want you to try one listening from the book, which is devoted to listening exam of B2 plus level. And I think we can do that. So please open that task, which I provided you by email, and you go to part 1. Okay? Have you found? Students, do you have that task? Part 1.
Yes.
Okay, so please read the instructions before listening, before I play the recording, okay?
Test 1. Listening test. I'm going to give the instructions for this test. I'll introduce each part of the test and give you time to look at the questions. At the start of each part, you'll hear this sound. Remember, while you're listening, write your answers on the listening paper. At the end of the listening test, you will have 3 minutes to transfer your answers onto the answer sheet. Now turn to part 1. Part 1. You will hear people speaking in 6 different situations. For questions 1 to 6, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. There is an example, 0. You will hear each situation twice. You now have 15 seconds to review the task. Example 0.
I absolutely love chess, but I'm not one of those people who sit at home playing against a computer. To me, chess has to be interactive. I need someone sitting across from me to really enjoy the game. So, at the moment, I usually play in the park with friends, and I'm currently trying to set up a chess club at school.
1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Bridge Station. We regret to inform you that due to technical difficulties, Wembley Park Station is closed. Passengers travelling to Wembley Stadium should take the Jubilee line to Stanmore and change at Neasden for a rail replacement bus service. Transport for London apologise for any inconvenience caused. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Bridge Station. We regret to inform you that due to technical difficulties, Wembley Park Station is closed. Passengers travelling to Wembley Stadium should take the Jubilee line to Stanmore and change at Neasden for a rail replacement bus service. Transport for London apologise for any inconvenience caused.
2. These days, most of us have very busy lifestyles, which means that we often struggle to find the time to even have a cup of coffee in the morning. At Kenwood's, we're aware that our customers have demanding schedules. So we've recently extended our weekday opening hours until midnight. That means you don't need to worry about buying groceries straight after work. Instead, go home, relax, have a meal with your family, and visit us later in the evening. These days, most of us have very busy lifestyles, which means that we often struggle to find the time to even have a cup of coffee in the morning. At Kenwood's, we're aware that our customers have demanding schedules. So we've recently extended our weekday opening hours until midnight. That means you don't need to worry about buying groceries straight after work. Instead, go home, relax, have a meal with your family, and visit us later in the evening. 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to the left of the boat, you will see a group of narwhals swimming in the distance. Narwhals are a kind of medium-sized whale that have a long tooth or tusk that comes out from their mouths. Their shocking appearance has led to people calling them unicorns of the sea. It's common to see them in this area, but we're very fortunate to see so many in one place. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to the left of the boat, you will see a group of narwhals swimming in the distance. Narwhals are a kind of medium-sized whale that have a long tooth or tusk that comes out from their mouths. Their shocking appearance has led to people calling them unicorns of the sea. It's common to see them in this area, but we're very fortunate to see so many in one place.
4. In entertainment news, a fire broke out on the set of director Terry Dillon's new comedy Archangel yesterday afternoon. None of the cast were hurt, although one crew member was taken to hospital suffering from minor burns to his hands. While it was first assumed that the fire was caused by an electrical fault, the police now believe it was arson. Investigations are ongoing, with even Dillon being brought in for questioning. In entertainment news, a fire broke out on the set of director Terry Dillon's new comedy Archangel yesterday afternoon. None of the cast were hurt, although one crew member was taken to hospital suffering from minor burns to his hands. While it was first assumed that the fire was caused by an electrical fault, the police now believe it was arson. Investigations are ongoing, with even Dillon being brought in for questioning. 5.
After a largely peaceful night, the early hours of Monday will be very windy with gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. By noon, though, there will be a light breeze with temperatures of around 16 degrees centigrade. Temperatures will fall later in the day, and reports suggest that light afternoon drizzle will become heavy showers in the evening. After a largely peaceful night, the early hours of Monday will be very windy with gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. By noon, though, there will be a light breeze with temperatures of around 16 degrees centigrade. Temperatures will fall later in the day, and reports suggest that light afternoon drizzle will become heavy showers in the evening.
6.
I used to dread driving to work every morning. My office is only 2 kilometers away, but the traffic was so bad that it often took a whole hour to get there. Then, around a year ago, I read an article about carbon dioxide emissions from cars. It shocked me so much that I've been walking to work ever since. It still takes me an hour, but at least I'm not adding to the problem of air pollution. Plus, I'm saving a lot of money on petrol. I used to dread driving to work every morning. My office is only 2 kilometers away, but the traffic was so bad that it often took a whole hour to get there. Then, around a year ago, I read an article about carbon dioxide emissions from cars. It shocked me so much that I've been walking to work ever since. It still takes me an hour, but at least I'm not adding to the problem of air pollution. Plus, I'm saving a lot of money on petrol.
That is the end of part 1. Now turn to part 2.
Okay, students, so that was the example of one listening part. Now I am giving you the answers to this part 1 in the chat box. Please check your answers, your personal answers, and we will discuss this part number 1 of the listening test. Okay, students, so how are your results? Martina, for example? How many points you got?
All of them.
All of them, okay. Carolina? Carolina, what about you? Okay, you don't want to speak. Okay, thank you.
Jį
And
parašė, į susirašinėjimą jį parašė.
Yes, the answers are in the chat box.
Ne, aš
Okay.
turiu, Karolina parašė į...
Ah, okay. Okay, so what she wrote? Okay, I will. Oh, good. Okay, as I said, this is one of the easiest, yes? Do you agree with me? Now
Yeah.
I want you, okay, so you succeeded quite very well, yeah, with flying colors. And I hoped that way. Now tell me how you listened to those tasks. What you did before listening. Any guesses?
Read everything carefully.
Yes, very well. You read everything carefully. Okay. How you listened? Can you find the name to define your listening process? How you listened?
Try to understand the key, not keywords, but what they want to say.
You
The meaning
were,
of...
okay. You were looking for keywords. Good, good strategy. What else? If I am asking how, what word would suit here? Did you listen actively?
Yes.
Do you understand what does it mean to listen actively? Can you tell me? Okay, so what I am pointing out, yes, you mentioned very well that before any kind of listening task, you should read. Listening and reading comes together. You should read the task very, very carefully, yes? Then, during the listening, you should be active, not passive. What does it mean? There are some active listening strategies, yes? Before listening, you have to connect somehow. Somebody mentioned that you were looking for keywords. You should connect the words which are given in the task with the topic. And you should question yourself what I know about that topic, yes? Because that helps us and our mind to build some connections between what you know and the new information which comes in the recording. Okay, next thing. Looking for clues or predicting, making some predictions, yes? You should make guesses about what you may learn as you listen. It doesn't matter that your predictions could be wrong or right. That's not the point. Just you have to make guesses. If you read the question, you should guess. What am I going to hear? What should I listen to? Yeah? Next. Also, the task is given in written form, so you must read, yes? And if there come some new words, so you should think about the vocabulary very much. And while reading, you should also question yourself what you know about the words which are given as a task. Okay. No dictionaries in the exam, no telephones in the exam, but still your prior knowledge might help. Okay, I guess you were successful in this part of the listening and you proved me that you have quite good listening skills, yes? And were any things which disturbed you while listening? Or what can be the things which might disturb you during the exam? Any guesses? You will not be allowed to.
Maybe just other thoughts about something else, not the exam, I guess. Okay,
yes. Second thoughts might be kind of disturbance, yes. So you should be very, very, concentrated and listen actively, even take notes. Sometimes it also helps to take notes. What else? For example, my window now is closed, but if I open the dog barking outside, It could disturb you, yes? Also, the person who is sitting next to you might be, you know, playing with the pen because he or she is nervous. It also could be some kind of disturbance, but you must stay concentrated and not to pay any attention to those things which might distract you. Okay, so now let's turn to some tips. How to become active listener, how to show your best in your listening. Here you can see some strategies. As you can see, strategies are divided into 3 groups. Before listening strategies, during listening strategies, and after listening, even after listening strategies. The first ones we a little bit talked about, yes, and I want to repeat that you have to connect the task with your prior knowledge. You have to predict according to the task what you are going to listen to. Also, to think what you know about that topic or the situation. Also, vocabulary is the key point. If you don't know some vocabulary, yes, it could be a problem, but still some, you know, situation can help you guess the meaning. You don't necessarily have to know all the words to understand what am I talking or what the foreigner in front of you is talking, yes? During the listening, you should listen for the answers, yes? You listen for the answers following the task. You can take notes while listening. Everybody is allowed to take notes on your draft. And if there is a possibility, we re-listen. In your exam, how many times you will be allowed to listen to one recording?
Twice.
Twice, always twice. For international exams, IELTS or PTE, especially in IELTS, you are given to listen only once, yes? But for our state exam, yes, every task is repeated twice. So if you make some mistakes or if you are not sure during the first listening, okay, you will be given the second time to listen. So taking notes, it's okay. And after the listening, you do what? You summarize, you write your answers. Okay, let's move further. Okay, so how to prepare myself for the listening test? That's the key question, yes, for your parents, for you, for your teachers. Okay, so we are preparing for the listening exam all our life, as I mentioned before. We always listen to different accents, dialogues, recordings during the lessons at home. You are listening to music. It's also preparing for your exam. We are preparing not only for exam, we are preparing for our life. And if any listening exam, there is a lot you can do to prepare. The teacher plays the recording and you actually listen to that text, which is given to you as an assignment. If you are well prepared before you even hear the first word of the text, you will do much better in the text. So the calmer you feel, the better you will understand. So as you can see, my slide, it's written, calm down. Try to pay very close attention. Really, you don't have to panic. It doesn't matter that we are under pandemic situation and we are in a quarantine. It doesn't matter. Everything will be okay. You just have to be very calm, stay positive, not panic, take a few deep breaths and use your common sense. All exams will be passed, really. You will pass them with flying colors, I believe. So don't panic. Just listen now before the exam to some favorite radio programs, if you have such, in English, I mean. Listen to, watch videos, watch your favorite films in English, and that will be your preparation. And don't panic. The main thing is stay emotionally strong. All exams will be passed, and English, I think, is the most difficult nowadays exam Do you agree with me? In comparison with Lithuanian, for example, or mathematics. So English really will be okay with this exam. So the first thing, be emotionally strong. And I believe that you are such students. Okay. Timing is very important for the exam. In the very beginning of our today's talk, I asked you how much time you are given for the listening task. And I showed you the example. How many minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. I guess the timing will be the same this year. Maybe you will be given a little bit more time for 15 minutes. I don't know, maybe for writing task or reading. The exam might be prolonged a little bit. But for listening, I think 30 minutes, it's enough. So, okay, so you should know that 30 minutes, it's the time. And you can't be late for your exam, because the very first part of the examination is listening. So if you are late, you will not be allowed to take that part, and you will lose how many points? 25. Yes, so don't be late. Timing is very important. Also, as I said, you know already that you will be allowed to listen 2 times to the recording, yes? In some tests, yes, once, but in our state exam, 2 times. If you listen more than once, you please don't worry if you don't hear all the answers the first time. Keep calm and listen for the answers the second time. That's what for the second listening is provided. If you don't hear the answer, again, don't panic. Sometimes key information is repeated later in the audio, not in the very beginning, yes? If you only listen once and you don't hear all the answers, think about the context and choose or write an answer that makes sense. It means use your common sense. If after the second listening you don't hear the answer, the best thing is to guess. Don't leave blank spaces. If you don't the answer, use your common sense and guess. And probably you might be right, okay? Well done. So, as I mentioned earlier, reading and listening are interrelated. Why? You are given the text to read as an assignment for listening. So, as you mentioned, always you have to read the task very, very carefully and don't believe your eyes. Sometimes if I see the text for the task, I guess, oh, I know what to do. Yes, I know. I did such an exercise 10 times in my school lifetime. Yes, but don't believe your eyes. You should read very carefully all the whole task. How many questions? How many situations talking about the past part number 1? How many answers? How many seconds you will have to review the task? How much time you will be given to put your answers onto your worksheet? Everything must be read very carefully. Then you read all the questions and all possible answers. Underline the key information in the question. Always. For example, listen to the announcement. Which station is closed? So what could be the key word in this task? Announcement and station, yes? So you should listen to the announcement and to listen and to hear the name of the station. So these are the key words. If there are options, you should read all the options carefully, very carefully. If the questions and options have numbers, some dates or keywords, say them to yourself. It helps. You are not allowed to speak loudly, but to murmur, you are allowed. Yes, this will help you think about the way they sound. And if you say silently or in your mind, try to pronounce, probably you will hear them on the recording. If the options are pictures, it could be we should be ready for any type of the task. Nobody said that only this type tasks or that type tasks appear in the exam. Pictures also can be given to you. So then you have to look very carefully at them, and you have to think about the words to describe those pictures in English prior to listening. And this will prepare you for words you might hear in the recording. So I think it is very helpful. And my students sometimes try it, and really it works. So reading and listening are interrelated. Read everything what you are given to. Thinking. As I mentioned in the very beginning, listening is not only listening and reading. It implies our cognitive knowledge and cognitive skills. We have to think. There are lots of different types of listening exam tasks, as I mentioned. So you must make sure you understand the instructions for the task before the test begins. So it is not enough to read. Also, you have to comprehend, to understand what you are reading, and to think about what you are reading. What exactly do you have to do? What is the exact task? What is the instruction? Also, tick the correct answers. Do I need to tick or do I have to write? Okay, now you had only to tick in the boxes, but other tasks provide gaps where you have to write words. So you have to be sure what you have to do for this particular task. Put the pictures in order. It could be, if such a task, complete the gaps. So different task types might appear, and you have to think and to simulate the process which you are involved in. While you listen, all your attention should be on listening, not working out what to do, not panicking, not listening to some distractions. Attention should be on listening and hearing things. So thinking is very, very important while listening. Predictions, as I said. When you look at the questions, you should question yourself, what I know about the topic. For example, we listen to different situations. So what do I know about the situation when I am in some kind of station? What do I know about the situation when I am at the supermarket? Just thinking and predicting and picturing the situation and the topic. Anything you know about the topic, even in your own language, it will help you. If you never appeared in this situation, let us say about woman talking about her commuting to work, if you are not in such a situation, think in Lithuanian. Ar aš važiuoju į darbą, ar aš einu į darbą, mano mama eina į darbą. Įsivaizduoti tą situaciją lietuviškai. This will help you. Also, if the pictures are given or some headings, again, look, is there any information about the topic or not? Make some predictions, make some guesses. Again, next thing, vocabulary. What words you know about the topic? What words you know related to stations? What words you have learned during your school lifetime about the commuting or weather forecast? Predict which words might be in the listening task. Not so many words, yeah, but you can predict them. Then any ideas you have before you listen in English or even in your own language, again, will help you understand this situation and the recording you are listening to. Always look for the clues. The clues will help you predict before you listen. Predict as much as possible and listen for what? for confirmation. Listen to confirm your predictions. Your predictions can be right or wrong, but it doesn't matter. Why you have to listen? To confirm your predictions. Next thing, different listenings, different situations, and even our part 1, which we listened to, always raises the question, who speaks? A lady, a youngster, a man, an old man. Knowing how many different voices you are going to hear will help you prepare before you listen to the text. For example, if the task says, listen to the woman talking about her commute, it's clear that we are going to hear the woman's voice and one woman talking, yes? There is sometimes information in the question which will give you an idea who is speaking, and you can start to imagine that scenario, yes? Where is that woman? What is she doing? And so on and so forth. Also, you should be able to determine how many speakers are there in the recording according to the task given. Always look at the instructions. Is it a dialogue? Is it a monologue? We will try 2 more parts and you will see, and you will use those strategies, yes? Dialogue or monologue. Maybe it is an interview. If so, the interviewer's questions may be the same as your questions. Again, predicting what questions might appear in the interview about the coronavirus can help you to listen for the answer. Okay. Next thing. More tips for listening. While you are listening to the text, you need to concentrate 100%. This is not a time for looking out of the window or thinking about what you are going to have for lunch. This is listening, actual listening part of most tests, and these texts are short, quite short, yes? 10 minutes, 30 minutes for the whole test. So 4 parts, one part 5 minutes, another part 6 minutes. So these are short texts, really. It's not the whole film to listen to or video. So try to focus only on the exam. I understand sometimes it's difficult, but when the exam day comes, yeah, focus only on the exam. And again, your emotional status is very, very important. Don't panic if you don't understand everything. Nobody understands everything, even me. We are just older than you and have a little bit more experience, but we also make mistakes. You can also make mistakes. We learn from mistakes, so don't panic. Don't panic, ever. The first time you listen, you just listen for the general idea, or in other words, for the gist. It is very difficult when you listen for the first time to concentrate very much, yes? So the first listening is for general idea, and I suggest you take notes, really. Besides every task, you can write something to help you. Also, again, I'm repeating, keywords or ideas will be stressed, always. In the recording, it is stressed, always. You just have to listen carefully and hear the stressed keywords or ideas. They are usually said louder and slower than other words. The words that are not stressed are not usually as important as the words that are stressed. So next time when you listen, try to hear that really some words are pronounced louder and slower. And that means that they are important for this recording and for the task assigned for that. Okay, In general, listen for the important key words and don't listen to every word. If I say be concentrated, yes, listen very carefully. It doesn't mean listen to every word. Nobody listens to every word because human speech is, very quick, and especially foreigners speak very quickly. We are people who just learned English, a little bit. So don't listen for every word. Listen for keywords and for general ideas at first. Okay. Okay, context. Context also can help you very much. What does it mean, context? So sometimes you should imagine where the action takes place, yes? What do you know about that situation? And the context, social, political, your life experience can help a lot to understand the task. If you hear the word you don't know, think about how it might relate to the context. If you are not sure about the answer, use your brain, yes? Your common sense. What makes sense in that context? And at least if you don't understand at all, just guess. Also, when the task is provided and you are listening to the situation, listen and question yourself, where are the speakers? Does the background in the recording and the noise give you any extra information? For example, if the recording is taking place in supermarket, maybe you can hear some other people passing by and talking, so it might help you understand that, yes, really, it's a supermarket, so the answer should be related to that. Also, in the recording, a lot of contractions are used. People do not always speak using full forms, yes? We foreigners use more often full forms, but a lot of contractions are used in spoken English. And as I said, one of the listening recordings can be very difficult and of higher level, so listen to those contractions and listen carefully. Also, intonation. Every person speaks differently, but I guess you were taught intonation of English, which is very important thing. In English language, questions have their own intonation. Yes, do you believe me? Raising intonation. So intonation can help you understand the speaker's emotions and how they feel. And probably in the task, it would be written, what are the emotions of the person? And intonation might help you. So understanding the emotions of the speakers, again, will be of great help to you while listening. Okay. And more important things. Listening tests often ask questions about the speaker's opinions. And maybe this is one of the not most difficult, but difficult tasks, when the speaker's opinion is the thing which matters. So you should listen for certain expressions which will help you in this area. For writing essays, opinion essays, you were taught by your teachers what phrases to use to express your opinion. So the same phrases might appear in the recording. So listen for language of opinions. In my view, I believe, I disagree that, I can't stand, I am keen on what concerns me, to my belief, ir taip toliau. A lot of phrases there are in English language to express your opinion. So if the question is about speaker's opinion, it will definitely help you. Reactions. If there are more than one person talking, for example, interview or dialogue, you should listen for reactions. These reactions will help you understand opinions. Yes? Okay, so these were the tips, and now I think it's time you applied those tips to listening to part 4 and part 5 for the exam task. So please, students, take your tasks which I provided you, and we will start with the part 4. Part 4, as you can see, is with gaps. So please try to remember what I said before. Take your task. At first, read, please. Now I give you 2 minutes for reading the task and the all information, all the sentences which are given below. Okay, get ready. I'm switching my microphones. Part number 5, I will provide you the code for Google Classroom, and the task is there. I will give you the code and you will see the task.
Part 4. You will hear a man presenting some information about traveling in Mexico. For questions 17 to 25, complete the sentences. You may write one word only. Write the word exactly as you hear it. There is an example 0. You will hear the recording twice. You now have 30 seconds to review the task.
Mexico is a country with a lot to offer. A rich culture, all year-round sunshine, and one of the modern wonders of the world. But before you jet off to this beautiful country, it is worth making some preparations. Booking a hotel or hostel before you travel is a good idea no matter where you are going, and Mexico is no different. Using travel review websites is a great way to find good quality accommodation, as it will show you a range of opinions from different people. Make sure you research several resorts and check that they have the kind of facilities you would like nearby. Whether that might be a sandy beach where you can relax, for example, Cancun, or a bustling city like Campeche where you can buy souvenirs. Make sure you plan carefully what time of year you want to travel. Mexico holds a number of festivals and holidays throughout the year. If you want to experience their huge, colorful carnivals, for example, you should book your holiday during February. Although at any time you are likely to see some sort of festival or event going on. These events are a fantastic opportunity to experience Mexican culture, like traditional Mexican chinelos dancing, or even lucha libre, which is Mexican wrestling. Of course, everyone visiting Mexico will want to sample some of their well-known dishes. Tacos, salsa, fajitas, and tapas are likely to be on the menu in most restaurants, and the more adventurous might want to snack on the worms, ants, and fried grasshoppers that are on offer. But beware of drinking tap water when dining, as it is often not safe to drink. So think carefully before glugging down some water with your spicy meal or ordering ice cubes in your drinks. Instead, it's a good idea to drink bottled water during your trip to avoid getting ill. And finally, remember that it is considered very rude to not leave a tip after visiting a restaurant, bar, or cafe. Most waiters will expect at least a 10% service tip for their efforts. Mexico is a country with a lot to offer. A rich culture, all year-round sunshine, and one of the modern wonders of the world. But before you jet off to this beautiful country, it is worth making some preparations. Booking a hotel or hostel before you travel is a good idea no matter where you are going, and Mexico is no different. Using travel review websites is a great way to find good quality accommodation, as it will show you a range of opinions from different people. Make sure you research several resorts and check that they have the kind of facilities you would like nearby. Whether that might be a sandy beach where you can relax, for example, Cancun, or a bustling city like Campeche where you can buy souvenirs. Make sure you plan carefully what time of year you want to travel. Mexico holds a number of festivals and holidays throughout the year. If you want to experience their huge colorful carnivals, for example, you should book your holiday during February. Although at any time you are likely to see some sort of festival or event going on. These events are a fantastic opportunity to experience Mexican culture, like traditional Mexican chinelos dancing, or even lucha libre, which is Mexican wrestling. Of course, everyone visiting Mexico will want to sample some of their well-known dishes. Tacos, salsa, fajitas, and tapas are likely to be on the menu in most restaurants, and the more adventurous might want to snack on the worms, ants, and fried grasshoppers that are on offer. But beware of drinking tap water when dining, as it is often not safe to drink. So think carefully before glugging down some water with your spicy meal or ordering ice cubes in your drinks. Instead, it's a good idea to drink bottled water during your trip to avoid getting ill. And finally, remember that it is considered very rude to not leave a tip after visiting a restaurant, bar, or cafe. Most waiters will expect at least a 10% service tip for their efforts.
That is the end of part 4. Now turn to part 5.
Okay, students, again, the answers are in your chat box. Please check and tell me what strategies, for example, helped you to succeed in this task. Filling the gaps. It is more difficult than the part number 1 we did. Be sure that you write the words spelled correctly, because it doesn't matter that it is listening test. Sometimes spelling mistakes can be penalized, and especially in those cases when the meaning changes. So in order to be safe, try to write the word as correctly as you can. Okay? So, how are your results? Okay, Aivaras, very good. So one mistake, yes? Oh no, everything is done perfectly. Good, so very good students here we have. Okay, so I am repeating one more time. Spelling is very important. In order to be safe, do not make spelling mistakes, okay? But if it happens that you don't know the word, really, you don't know the word, so try to write it as you hear, applying all the rules for spelling, which you learned during your school time. Okay, now part 5. I think I will share here on the screen. You will see. You will have to match. You will have to match the speakers with their speeches. Okay, here we have. I will try to share. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so please read the instructions for part 5 and get ready to listen for the last recording, okay?
Part 5. You will hear people talking about ways to reduce neighborhood crime. For questions 26 to 30, match the extracts you hear with statements A to G. There is an example, 0. You will hear the recording twice. You now have 15 seconds to review the task. There is one statement that you do not need to use. Example 0.
Personally, I think that local newspapers could include more positive news reports. You see, when citizens pick up a paper and read page after page of violent crime reports, it has an effect on how they perceive the people around them. For instance, neighbors might become more distrustful of each other, which means they would be less likely to work together to fight crime.
Speaker 1.
These days, sentences given out for serious crimes are nowhere near long enough. The justice system is far too lenient, and the penalties are not severe enough to discourage people from giving up a life of crime. Basically, I feel that longer prison sentences, heftier fines, and more demanding parole conditions would really help to reduce local crime rates.
Speaker 2.
Catching the criminals is one way of reducing crime, but another way is by being proactive and making sure that we do not put ourselves in positions where we can become victims of crime. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, by installing burglar alarms, you are less likely to become the victim of a burglary. The same goes for muggings. If more people avoided badly lit areas of town, muggers would not have the conditions they prefer to commit muggings.
Speaker 3.
While the police force has the main responsibility to fight crime, ordinary citizens can also help. Neighborhood watch schemes are a great way to reduce crime in an area. They can make everyone feel safer in their homes. And through close contact with each other, criminals can often be identified and brought to the attention of the police.
Speaker 4.
If you ask me, a great police presence is the only thing that can really lower crime rates in an area. For example, my town noticed a 60% reduction in crime after they introduced daily police patrols in every main street. Now, people feel much safer in their homes and in public, although the police still emphasize the importance of always being on the lookout for suspicious activity.
Speaker 5. I think communication within a community is a key factor in fighting crime. The police department in my town has recently started to give far more public messages, for example on local radio. For instance, they recently issued a warning about some car thefts in the area, and as a result, the criminals in question were caught with the help of a vigilant citizen. Speaker 1.
These days, sentences given out for serious crimes are nowhere near long enough. The justice system is far too lenient, and the penalties are not severe enough to discourage people from giving up a life of crime. Basically, I feel that longer prison sentences, heftier fines, and more demanding parole conditions would really help to reduce local crime rates.
Speaker 2.
Catching the criminals is one way of reducing crime, but another way is by being proactive and making sure that we do not put ourselves in positions where we can become victims of crime. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, by installing burglar alarms, you are less likely to become the victim of a burglary. The same goes for muggings. If more people avoided badly lit areas of town, muggers would not have the conditions they prefer to commit muggings.
Speaker 3.
While the police force has the main responsibility to fight crime, ordinary citizens can also help. Neighborhood watch schemes are a great way to reduce crime in an area. They can make everyone feel safer in their homes. And through close contact with each other, criminals can often be identified and brought to the attention of the police.
Speaker 4.
If you ask me, a great police presence is the only thing that can really lower crime rates in an area. For example, my town noticed a 60% reduction in crime after they introduced daily police patrols in every main street. Now, people feel much safer in their homes and in public, although the police still emphasize the importance of always being on the lookout for suspicious activity.
Speaker 5. I think communication within a community is a key factor in fighting crime. The police department in my town has recently started to give far more public messages, for example, on local radio. For instance, they recently issued a warning about some car thefts in the area, and as a result, the criminals in question were caught with the help of a vigilant citizen.
That is the end of part 5 and the end of the listening test. You now have 3 minutes to transfer your answers onto the answer sheet. Okay, so that was part number 5. And I want to ask you, how was this part? Was it easier or was it more difficult for you? What do you say, students? No? Here are the results, so please tell me your opinions and insights. Here we are. Okay, so how you succeeded? Good. So everybody in this time being with me will get 100% for your state exam, okay? But now I want to ask you one more thing. There was such a word. I am writing it down in your chat box. Provide me with the synonyms for that word. Or maybe you know that word very much and it didn't make any troubles for your listening. Lenient. Any synonyms? How you understand the word lenient? Okay, Ivory. Yes, forgiving. It could be used. Okay. Any more ideas? More tolerant than expected. Okay, good. Well done. So in this task number 5, I mean, you were provided some recording where you have to match more speakers, yeah, more speakers. And also one speaker or one statement is that you do not need to use. So it is very important, as I mentioned, to read the task and to get ready for what is awaiting for you in the recording, okay? And now we are approaching to the end. And as I said, I am not the person who invented all those tips which I shared with you on my own, really. No, I just got ready. I got ready for this consultation. I tried to do my best, so I used a lot of internet sites and psychological articles were read by me so that I could give you some, tips to feel more confident before state exam. And I guess at least those students who are here with me and spend this more than 1 hour with me, I really appreciate, and I hope that you will pass your exams really with flying colors. So students, be emotionally strong, do not panic, read everything what is given to you for your exam task, and I hope everything will be okay. So thank you, students, and if you want to get more tips on reading test, you can join next Tuesday again such a consultation, but there we will talk and try to do some reading tests. Okay, so thank you, students, for being with me, and good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.